Hey everyone, this is Nitro. In this video I am going to do my weekly update of Nitro setup. And the first thing I want to mention is I got 1,000 likes. This actually happened I think a week ago, but I completely forgot to report it. So yes, I have surpassed 1,000 likes now, and apparently there was a push by several people from Rocky Valley to get me there. So thank you to those three for, I guess, feeding me extra lights to get me to 1,000. Other than that, I had an interesting conversation. This was actually a conversation at the end of Season 3. So that was during the Apex Arena playoffs for Season 3. And it was with who is actually in the Season 2 top 32. The interesting thing that came out there was that he actually has quite a terrible training ground. For example, he mentioned that his flyer training ground only has 46% attack increase. But he was able to get into the top 32 by having a AoE attacks team. So his party was very heavily focused on AoE strikes, and as a result, despite his crappy training ground, he was still able to get into the top 32 in Season 2. So it actually says a lot about how AoE assault teams can do very well in Apex Arena. And in fact, the meta is changing back towards AoE assault teams too, right? So given that's the case, you don't necessarily need an overpowered training ground if you have the right AoE attackers built up to use for Apex Arena. So just an interesting point there that I thought I should mention. Okay. So with those two interesting points mentioned, let's go into talking about what happened last week in terms of equipment farming. So the week before I had 11 SSRs, and the week that I'm covering now, which was last week, I got 12 SSRs from the Dragon Dailies and Joint Battles. So crystal wise, the previous week was, well, last week, I had 68 vouchers and 8,350 crystals starting at the start of the week. I did do 100 draws on the couples banners. So I currently have 9 vouchers and 8,492 crystals. So if you just break that down, assuming those extra 32 draws came from my crystals, I currently have a 9 voucher increase, and I got 2,958 crystals in increase. So 2,958 crystals would be the difference between the crystals I currently have and 32 voucher purchases. So a pretty significant increase, really. Compare, right? 9 vouchers and 2,958 crystals. It's pretty nice. Higher than usual, really. I think a whole bunch of those crystals came from the currently running events. I'm honestly not sure how I got that many extra crystals and vouchers, frankly speaking. In any case, though, that was the increase over the past week. Now then, let's talk about equipment that I got. Most importantly, I got my second swordsmith medal from the Timeless Trial last week. So that is a big improvement to my party, right? Getting a second one. I really do want a third one if possible, and then a fourth one, but you know, slowly but steadily. Second one is already a big improvement, I have to say. So that's a big plus. Okay. Other than that, I did 6 gambles last week, completely ignoring the weapons now, and I did 300 helm gambles, which just gave me 300 ore. So I gambled, they were all garbage, turned them back into ore. And the 3 armor gambles, I kept 2 of them. They weren't great items per se, but they're worth keeping. One of them was a Giant's Resolve, and I kept that because it raised my second Giant's Resolve to level 50. And the other one I kept was an Azure Armor, which raises the Azure Armor to level 30. My second one. And that's because I don't have last rights at this time, right? And then the third gamble was turned back into ore. As for the 12 SSRs that I got last week, of those 12, I actually kept a surprising number of them. Once again, they weren't necessarily top tier items that I needed, but they were good enough that I just don't get rid of them. Okay. So Monday was a carbon fiber helmet that was ored. Tuesday, I got a Ragnarok and a Steel Guardian. So the Ragnarok I kept, the Steel Guardian I turned into ore. Right? This is my 5th Ragnarok. It's kind of crazy, right? I went, I think, 8 or 9 months without a single Ragnarok, and then now I have 5. So go figure. Yeah. Wednesday was nothing. Thursday, I got a Fujin's Wing, which I ored. It's really, other than Ledin maybe using them, nobody else does. So yeah. And then on Friday, I got my 6th King's Crown. I'm not building it, but it's nice to see that I'm getting more King's Crowns. The fact of the matter is, though, more and more of the characters are using their own exclusives instead of King's Crowns, so I really don't need to build a 6th one. Other than the King's Crown, I also got a Demon Lizard skin, and that is my 3rd copy of a Demon Lizard skin. So it raises my Demon Lizard skin to level 40. Right? I need 1 more and I have a level 50 Demon Lizard skin. Saturday, I got an Assault Headgear, Carbon Fiber Helmet, both was ored. I got a Joint Battle Galaxy Cloak. I also ored that because I'm no longer building Galaxy Cloaks. And from the world map, I also finally got a Cloak of Defiance. I ored that one as well because I am also not interested in building any more Cloaks of Defiance. Okay. So, and then Sunday, Frost Rend, which was ored. And I did 1 random accessory box purchase, which got me a Goddess tier last week. So those were the 12 SSRs. Overall, not too shabby if I say so myself. And you know, the main thing ultimately was the Swordsmith Medal. A lot of these other items are just, I'll keep them, may not necessarily build any of them, but the Swordsmith Medal was instantly raised to level 50 for sure. So let's move on. So this continues to show the gear that I continue to want, right? Extreme Magic Bow and Mimir's War Axe. Mimir's War Axe I actually don't really care all too much about anymore. Yusuke is doing what he needs without it, so if I get one, great. If I don't, whatever. Extreme Magic Bow, I really could use another one or 2, but once again, if I don't get it, I'm actually decreasing the number of assassins I use, so it's not the end of the world if I don't get one. Long story short. Yeah, it's really interesting there that I only have a single Extreme Magic Bow after all this time. Really could use 2. That's the main thing. Helmet wise, I currently have 4 Tenyos headdresses. Could always use more because every single Holy, Demon, and Mage class character can use one. Right? The more you have of those, the better. Armor wise, I currently have 5 Lacerates. You can use a maximum of 11 really, which I have listed, right? Juggler, Yusuke, Listel are the core PvP characters who use them, right? Flyers include Angelina, Ares, and Claret, and then all the assassins that you potentially use could use one too. So that's why you can use up 11 potentially, right? This is just for my party. This is just 3 plus 3 plus 5 would give you 11, but there are really more characters that can use these Lacerates, right? Pretty much every single flyer. So that's armor wise though, that's why I'm making do with Azure armors. Okay. As for accessories, accessory-wise, if I get more of the Twilight Stars or Twilight Dawns, Dieharte, Sonya, Zerida, Akaya, the list goes on and on. Pretty much any single target striker could use it. So we'll see if I get any of those. Juggler plushie. I do have one on Liana right now, but I could use one for Iris and Tiaris. Interesting point about those two is they could also use Goddess tier, so it may be a tough choice between whether they use Juggler plushies or Goddess tiers. Right? Yeah, so let's move on. As for the Swordsmith Medal, right, I could still use 3. One for Bozel, one for Landius, and previously I wanted one for Juggler. Since I've currently given one to Juggler, the last spot has now changed to Luna instead, right? So the next 3 I get would go to Bozel, Landius, and Luna. Order of priority, either Bozel or Landius first, then Landius or Bozel, then finally Luna. As for the final accessory that I really want at this time, it would be Apex Boots. Really, it would just be one for Reen at this point, because I don't plan to build Sakura at all. So just need 1 pair of Apex Boots. Meanwhile, one of my guildmates got one this week yet again, and he actually ordered it. he has that many Apex boots apparently. So he ordered an Apex boots. Go figure. Well, I don't even have one. So that's the equipment that I still really prioritize and want. Nothing else really matters at this point. All the other items would be kind of like, hey, why don't I build it like I showed here, right? Like the Ragnarok, the King's Crown, the Demon Lizard Skin, the Giant's Resolve, the Azure Armors, Goddess Tier. They're all just nice to have, but I may not build them. So let's move on to talk about the Couples Banner, the Couple Banner Summon results, right? Already covered it, but I'll mention it again. Couples Banner, 100 summons gave me 3 SSRs, right? Took me 40 summons to get Lanford, right, when I was hoping for Angelina, and then it took me 60 more summons to get a double Sigma draw, right? If I got double Claret, I would have been happier, honestly, but, it is what it is. Double Sigma is double Sigma. So, given that's the case, with the double Sigma now, I decided that I've changed my shard farming plans yet again. With double Sigma, there's just reason to try to build Sigma to 6 stars now, right? Because from the double Sigma, I'm currently at, I think, 65 out of 100 shards. So if I trade Claret shards for 60 more Sigma shards, and it would only take me to farm like 35 Claret shards for 60 Sigma shards at this point, I would have a Sigma that's 5 stars and have him at 25 out of 150 in terms of getting towards 6 stars. So if I get another copy or 2 of Sigma, I'd be able to very easily finish him at that point. It just puts him at a much better spot to finish up, as opposed to maybe getting 60 Claret shards. Like if I traded for Claret shards, I would still only have Claret at 4 stars, right? That would still be something like 150 shards plus 85 shards, which is still a ridiculous number of shards, like 235 to farm up. Whereas for Sigma, it would be 125. So it puts Sigma in a very good spot. So assuming I get like another off-banner Sigma or something, he would be in a position for me to raise up to 6 stars very easily. So that's my current plans. In order to farm up those Claret shards, I have to stop farming Ares shards for now. So Ares is stalled at 61 until the 23rd, because I'll be farming, the 22nd, because from, I guess, the 10th to the 21st, I'll be farming Claret shards, right? But at the end of all this farming, I will have a 5-star Angelina, because I trade 50 Landia shards for 60 Angelina shards, and I will have a Sigma that's usable for PvE content and very well built for, or he'll be relatively ready for PvP potentially at 25 out of 150. I doubt I'll bring Sigma. I don't need on the second Yeeless Legends faction buff, but it's just interesting that this happened. So yeah. And then finally, the final shard farming change is that I decided that instead of farming Mystery Knight, I'd rather farm up Rene. So there's that adjustment too. So on the 21st, I should mention that on the 21st, I'm doing 2 Claret shards to get 50 shards of Claret, and I'm going to do 1 Rene shard there, because that would put Rene in a position where I can farm her up very easily. That extra run into Rene will cause her to be able to divide by 3 in terms of her remaining shards that I need to farm. Because if we see at that week, I'm going to have 28 out of 100 Rene shards. So if you subtract 100 minus 28, that's 72 shards, I think. And 72 is divisible by 3. So that's why I put that 1 run after Claret is done into Rene. As for Ares is just going to be farming up. He'll smoothly reach 5 stars. I'm not going to have him at 6 stars for the playoffs, but I never expected to, because I only got 1 copy of Ares in the first place. Right? The only way you could have Ares ready for the playoffs was if you got 2 copies of him. So that's my shard farming at this time, and I'm already assuming I get Licorice on the 30th. That's not guaranteed at all, but that's my assumption so far. Right? If I get Licorice, it's going to be perfect. fingers crossed that that happens. You know, it helps that I currently have a good number of crystals on hand, but I'm really gonna have to pray that I get Licorice because I desperately need her for my planned party. Alright, so with all that covered, let's jump in now into the game. Okay. So, in terms of, I'm going to mention quickly, I currently have barely any Orcom ore, so I can't really do much gambles right now. Actually, I have 635, so maybe I'll actually do the headgear gambles in hopes of another Tenyo's headdress. Nope. So 3 gambles, 300 ore. Yeah. But yes, I think that's my top priority right now, getting more Tenyo's headdresses. So I'll be continuing to gamble that for now. As for helmets, we'll see. It really depends on whether I get enough ore at the end of the day. So I'm not even sure I'm going to do the helmet gambles at this time. Or sorry, I'm not sure I'm going to do the armor gambles at this time because I just don't have ore anymore. I'm down to the, you know, I'm really like, just whenever I get ore, I use it up at this point. So it's a real struggle in terms of the ore management. And that's because I also need to buy epic martial spirits to upgrade my gear, while also buying these rare enchant gift packs to keep enchanting. So it's kind of a balance. I think I'm going to stop the armor gambles for now, even though I need lacerates, because it is ultimately a gamble. So there is that. Actually, I see. So right now, the rewards for World Arena and Apex Arena came in, so I'll just collect those quickly. Might as well. And next up would be to talk about some of the other changes with my party, I suppose. Give me a moment to just bring up the order I should be talking about these topics in. Okay. So, let's see. First things first, event, right? So the events for me right now is just Swimsuit Summer Festival and Unending Bond. Swimsuit Summer Festival, I've pretty much caught up on this event, right? Currently have the 5 battles cleared. There's 3 more battles to go. And yeah, so that one's going smoothly. Unending Bond event, I currently have done 1 trade, right? Which was Landia shards for Night of Mysteries. I am gathering shards to do the Claret trade for more Sigma shards, so that I have 125 shards, so that I can upgrade into 5 stars. And I'm gathering shards of Landius to do the Angelina trade, so that I have her at 5 stars too. So that will be pretty smooth. In terms of the world map chapters, I'm at chapter 12. I just, you know, with all the other stuff, the events and so on, I think I won't have that much time to do these battles until maybe this weekend. So I'll catch up on the chapter missions eventually. You know, I'm hoping to get 12, 13, there's 12, 13, 14, and 15, I think. So 4 more chapters to go. I'll just catch up slowly. Not really in a rush to do these, although I want to get them done before the Licorice banner in case they give me extra crystals and vouchers. So slowly but surely, I'll get them done by the 30th. That's the goal, for sure. Alright, other than that, shard farming I've already mentioned in that video, so I won't really repeat it. It's currently going to be Landius, though. Landius, Gizaroth, and Claret for the next 2 weeks, more or less. Gambles already done. Memory shard. Actually, let's take a look. Because of the Swimsuit Summer Festival event, I am getting memory shards of Ferrokia to get rid of. So I'm just extracting those, but I have to be careful because I cannot extract these Landia shards, right? So I have to be very careful about how I'm extracting at this time. I'm literally manually extracting when I do so. in terms of the memory shard purchases, you know, I already talked about the accessories. I actually purchased the runestone recently because I realized I need some runestones. None of these other items I'm going to purchase. They're just not worth it. You know, I considered purchasing the SSR headgear because I need more Tenyos, but my memory essence is actually starting to drop, right? So I'm not sure. I still have 10,000, so it is possible to do the headgear purchase. You know what the heck, let's do it. Aeneas's helmet, useless. 2 Aeneas's helmets, garbage, garbage, garbage. So 5 helmet gambles this week, all of them ended up being garbage. That's unfortunate. But hey, I got some extra ore. At least now I have some more ore to do stuff with. Alright, so other than that, you know, I could go over my hero gallery because there has been the new additional heroes that have just been added. So now I'm just missing Emilia, Elucia, who I don't ever plan to get unless she bonds up characters, and I think that's it for these. Oh, and Maya, of course. So 3 characters here, right? Sorry, Emilia, Elucia, Maya, I think, and then that's it. So 3 characters, and in the crossover gallery there is the 4th character, which is the Yu Yu Hakusho character, right? The Toguro Bros, because I just couldn't afford to get him at that time. So yeah, I mean, I'm fine with the characters I'm missing. It works out pretty well for me, I feel. And I'm not even sure I'm gonna get those characters even if they come on banners that let me get them for sure, like Destiny Summon banners. I'm actually not sure I want any of them because I think I need my draws for crossover heroes, and B, I'm pretty sure these heroes don't actually bond up other heroes. Like Emilia certainly doesn't, right? Because she's part of the other game, and they're not adding the other heroes from that game at this time, anyways. Elucia might bond up characters because, after all, she is part of the Langrisser mobile storyline. So it's very possible that as they add more Langrisser mobile story characters, she may bond up heroes. But I wouldn't worry about it too much, at least for now. There will be Destiny Summon banners together. That's the thing. Maya, there is no Destiny Summon banner for her, I think. I'm gonna have to get her on the 2-character banner, but I have the other character she's with at 6 stars. I think it's Yulia Maya. So what that means is, if I draw on that banner, if I get her right away, then she's done. If I get the other hero, which is Yulia, I think, then I'm gonna have to get 2 copies of either. Well, I'm gonna have to either get 2 copies of Yulia, or a copy of Yulia and Maya, and then I convert those Yulia shards into Maya shards most likely, so that I have a 4-star Maya. Yeah. We'll see how that goes. Alright, so other than that, quickly mentioning Apex Arena, I played 3 more matches last week, won all 3, so I'm now at 1967 in terms of points. I just have not had time to do a review of the matches in the battle report. I want to, just no time. We'll see how that goes. You know, there's a whole bunch of matches that I labeled as worth watching, so hopefully I'll be able to find some time to cover those matches, but no promises. I just can't afford to promise right now due to lack of time. I think the priority is like hero videos, like especially Licorice and Renata videos. So given that's the case, I'm not sure when I'm going to put up the Apex Arena match video. Other than that, because I won those 3 matches, I actually rose all the way up to rank 33 in Apex Arena. Just goes to show. I don't even consider myself all that great at Apex, but if you put in the time into it, you can really just keep rising up. I suppose that's the summary of this. As for gears and enchants, well, the big change has been to Juggler. He now has his Swordsmith medal, which probably just means I'm going to get him banned even more often, right? Juggler's already pretty much always banned. The fact that I now have a Swordsmith Juggler probably means he's permanently banned at this point. But I'm going to keep enchanting him up. You know, I got a good enchant on this. Hit points, defense, and magic defense increase. So no complaints there. I just need to probably hope to improve either the Lacerates enchant or the Juggler's Gift enchant to get a high percentage roll. This one's currently 21%, and this one is currently 23%. So I'm probably going to re-roll the Juggler's Gift a bit more to try to get more than 21%, and we'll see how that goes. One thing that drove me crazy is I was enchanting this morning. I was doing enchants of Juggler as well as Iris. The Juggler enchants didn't really get me anything good. You can see 21, 23%. But the Iris enchant, look at this. This is the enchant I actually wanted for Juggler. 12% hit points, 13% magic defense, and 10% defense. This is actually a total of 35% increase. You know, the absolute maximum you can get is 45%, assuming you get 15, 15, 15, right? So realistically, you never see that. So this kind of enchant, 12, 13, 10, is pretty much a perfect enchant. It drove me crazy because if I had enchanted Juggler first, and I would have been enchanting the helmet, he would have gotten this enchant instead of Iris. As it is, I now have a very overpowered Iris. I don't think she's killable. Okay? I really don't think she's killable at this point. So, I guess I can't really complain about that, but yeah, I do regret not rolling. I do regret not seeing that enchant on Juggler instead. So, because I'm going to have to continue to enchant Juggler like crazy in hopes of getting something similar. I think that was really the main change. Other enchants, I actually can't recall any other kind of enchants that I rolled over the past week. So, you know, Landius was finished the previous week. So, yeah. And one other thing I did do was I actually went back to increasing bonds a bit, with using my gold that way. So there's more characters now that's fully bonded up. You know, I started bonding up Angelina, for example, getting her ready for use. Ares was maxed out in terms of his bonds, except for the defense bond that I don't have access to. Yeah, and so just basically spending a whole bunch of gold in terms of upgrading and bonding these heroes that I will very likely use for Apex Arena. Right? The only one that has not been bonded yet is fully bonded yet is Rennet, but she's at 96%. So, but once again, I'm not in any particular rush to finish these kind of characters because until I'm actually going to be using them in Apex, you know, it's not a huge deal at the end of the day. But the characters I use in Apex are definitely bonded up. I think they're bonded up all the way up to, is it Bozal? Yeah, up to Bozal. So anyone below Bozal is not fully bonded. Right, Juggler, Bozal, Yulia's out of my party. Listel is in my party, but I think the only bond I haven't done is her skill increase, right? So 2% skill is not a big deal. No. So that's why Juggler, Bozal, and Listel aren't fully upgraded, because they're lacking a tiny bit of skill, right? Rennet is probably one I'll eventually finish, and other than that, I don't think anyone else is being used in Apex at this time. On my list anyways. You know, Sonya's not being used, and so on. So, pretty much everyone I use for Apex is now fully bonded. That's pretty much it. As for my training ground, you know, more incremental upgrades into the Flyer and Aquatic training ground. It's now at 54% hit points and 50% defense and magic defense. I think that meant it was 48 last week, and I think 50-ish. So, some upgrades here. I'm actually in a very good position to get another upgrade done. I just need one more brown essential oil, so that's definitely going to happen. And then after that, right, from the event, I should get, I think, another 14 brown essential oils, right? Because there is this special horde which gives 7, and then the very last reward gives 7 as well. So yeah, 14 more. which will certainly help me upgrade my flyer training ground. That's for sure. In terms of rewards, so far I've just been doing the limited stages as well as 2 dailies. So I'm at 22,160 points right now. Keep in mind you do need to get to 90 mil, so I'll be able to calculate just how many runs I need to make next week, like next Monday. Yeah, I'll definitely make sure to hit 90 because why would I miss the 7 SSR Anarchy workout machines, right? So this is pretty much a must do. But slowly and steadily. No rush to get these items. And I think that's pretty much everything. So that is my current account status. My training grounds are pretty much steadily going up. Once I get the aquatic mostly done, just like how the cavalry is mostly done, once I have the hit points at around 70% or close to it, I'm going to move into the Holy and Demon training ground at that point. I'm not sure I'm actually going to raise hit points up to 70%. I may raise balance out the hit points and defense increases. Kind of like how my cavalry training ground has more defense and magic defense with some hit points. I should upgrade that hit points a bit higher as a side note. But just as this training ground has more defense and hit points, I'm probably going to balance out the hit points balance along with defense and magic defense. And then after that, I'm going to upgrade the Holy and Demon training ground for sure. So that would get me 4 highly usable training grounds. And then after that, I'll focus on infantry. And I just can't afford to do the Lancer. I have no resources to upgrade that one. But it'll be good to have 4 of the training grounds usable. I expect for the playoffs, I'll probably just have... I don't think my Holy training ground will be ready for the playoffs. But, slowly but steadily. That's actually, as a side note, that's actually one of the reasons why I'm converting to more of a ranged assault team as opposed to an AoE assault team for Apex rather than the single target strike team. It's easier on your soldier choices and so on when you use AoE attacks. And that's it. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video about my current account status and what I've been doing. And on that note, Nitro out.